Welcome to the Market Like a Coach podcast. I'm Angela Naumann, a master writing teacher and marketing coach. Here we dive into stories and strategies to refine your messaging, make your program shine, and turn your audience into raving fans. Ready to elevate your coaching game and build a thriving business with heart? Let's get started, my friend. It's time to market like a coach. Hey, my friends. Welcome to this episode of the Market Like a Coach podcast. I am so excited to come talk to you about this topic today because it's one that honestly, I thought I was doing for the longest time. And then I realized I could do better. And so I figure just like me, you guys out there are probably doing what I was doing, and there's things you could do better in this area that will actually help you bring in more clients from your content to get that visibility, to actually get people taking up those calls to action, to actually get people reading your stuff, watching your videos, those kinds of things. So let's dive into this today because today is all about being interesting enough that people want to consume your content, that people are seeking you out, that you become someone people are searching and looking for, not just someone they happen to scroll across. So let's dive into this. I remember let me tell you this first. So not too long ago, we have a 65 Mustang in our garage. And not too long ago, my husband and the boys, they're all into cars and that kind of stuff. And they were talking about whatever they're going to replace on the Mustang and whatever part they need and how they're going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I say that because that's what I heard when they would talk, blah, 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 blah. Cue the Charlie Brown teacher, mwah, 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 right? That's all I could hear. Why? I was clueless. I did not have the vocabulary for what they were talking about. I didn't know what any of the things meant that they were saying. So it left me confused and just not interested. I tuned out. And so what happens so often on social media is that right there. We start talking. They don't have the vocabulary. They're confused by it. So they're not interested. They just scroll on. They tune it out. And so today what we're going to talk about is how then do we present our content in a way that they tune in, right? They go searching for it. So it's really interesting. I was at this place where I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start building my YouTube. I was trying to decide podcast, YouTube. What am I doing? I knew there was a next step for where I was, and I was trying to figure this out. And so my kids are on YouTube all the time. They love YouTube, right? It's their TV, like we just had TV after school, right? Growing up. And so I was like, hey, Noah, tell me what podcast or tell me what shows, channels you follow on YouTube. Tell me what you really like. And he's telling me about them. I'm like, well, why do you like that one? And I'm like, how did you decide this? I'm asking all the questions. I am market researching my son. Now, he is not my ideal client. So let's just start with that. You have to know your people. But I was curious to his reasoning for why he picked who he picked. And finally he just says, why are you asking me all this? And I tell him, well, I'm looking at, do I start a podcast? Do I start a YouTube channel? What do I do here? And what's the best way to do this? And because I want it to grow, and I've already posted a few things here and there, and it didn't really take off. And he looks right at me, y'all. And he's like, maybe you want to be more interesting. Out of the mouths of babes, right? Just be more interesting. And I think I want to say he even said something like, maybe you just need better content, legit, so just put me in my place. But it was one of those things where it was truly an aha moment for me, because in his mind, this was simple. You just need to have interesting content. You just need to do better. And I was like, okay, but it gave me something to think about. And I really appreciated this, because that was not too long before I started reading Gary Vee's new book. And right now I can't remember the name of it, but basically it's all about interest-based algorithms. Since the immersion of TikTok into the world, what has happened is TikTok is an interest-based algorithm. That's why you can scroll your For You page on TikTok, and let's say you're wanting to, you're seeing a bunch of videos on teeth whitening. And because you searched that one day, you looked at teeth whitening, and now you see a bunch of videos on teeth whitening. You get tired of seeing them. What do? You don't let them play. You scroll past them as fast as you can. And within an hour, within a few slides, you stop seeing them. Interest-based algorithm. You want to see more videos on how to make homemade bread? You search homemade bread, and then the next day, all you're going to see for the next 24 hours are videos and videos and videos. And the more you watch the videos, the more videos TikTok will show you on how to make homemade bread, right? This is why they have communities over there like Book Talk or Gen X or parenting or whatever it is. When you start watching those videos about that topic, you see more of them on your For You page. Now you have your followers. That's a whole different click. You click over to a different page to watch that kind of thing. Or you can go back to the For You. The For You page is all interest-based algorithm. That is why TikTok took off. Because if their friend was posting something boring, people didn't have to look at it. So you can see content from people you don't follow that TikTok thinks you might be interesting to you, right? So here I am, my kid's saying, be more interesting. And I'm like, okay, this is all making sense. Gary Vee's book, my kid telling me that. And now I'm like, how do I do that? And then cue my husband and the boys talking about the car, and it's all clicked into place. Now, this clicked a little bit while back for me, but I want to share this with you because, man, we got to know this. Number one, the thing is it really comes down, well, number one, you have to know your people, right? You have to know your niche. But I'm assuming you know that you're pretty close. You're like, these are my people. I know them. This is me 5 years ago. This is what my first 4 clients were like, and this is the people I love. Got it. But after that, when it comes to content, it's not about just putting out good content. Lots of people put out good content that nobody looks at. It comes down to messaging. And so here's what that is. Messaging is all about the language you use, how relevant it is to your audience, and is it clear? Okay. So let's just think about it. So language, most people, what they do is it's just, they're using jargon and niche words or things people don't understand. Just like my husband and the boys talking about fixing whatever on the Mustang, I did not understand. I did not have that vocabulary in my head for anything in my brain to start making synapses to connect to a prior knowledge. So it meant nothing. They might as well have been speaking another language. And when we start getting in our coach speak, right? And even when we say things like, bring you into the coaching container, right? If you are a marriage coach speaking to someone who's never had coaching before, they may not even know what the heck you're talking about. A coaching container. Why does she want to put me in a container? What does she mean? Like, it's just jargon. They don't understand. And so what do? Scroll on. And it's the same. I'm sorry, I just got distracted. My cat just brought a lizard in and he's playing with it now. So it's that same thing. We have to do something about that. The other parts that come to this, well, not do something about it. We have to get in the language that our audience understands and speaks. We're not bringing you into a coaching container. We are bringing you into a relaxing conversation, right? Think about what we're offering, right? How we're going to word it so that it's inviting to whoever's looking for it. So if we're confusing, they're scrolling on. Next part. All right. The next thing is basically we have to be interesting. The problem is a lot of us put out content that is not relevant to our audience, right? They're not searching for it. If they're not searching for it on Google and things like that, they're probably not going to take time to go really consume and read yours, like to really bring it in where they want to then purchase coaching kind of thing, right? You solve a problem. What problem do you solve that people actually search for on social media or search for on Google or search for? Ask ChatGPT, right? What do they do? I'm not telling you to ask. What are they asking? Those different search engines. And so what's relevant? Most of us, what we either have is something that's not relevant. They're not interested in it. They're not searching for it, or the way we present it is super boring. I'm just going to say it. We present it super boring. We don't tell a story. We don't make a connection. right? So what do we do? They don't, or the impact is they don't read it, they don't engage, right? They scroll on. And who could blame them, right? I'm not watching reels about how to fix cars because I don't care. I don't even want that knowledge in my head. I don't care. That's just not me. Same thing for your people. Same thing for your people. Right? Like, and one, I'll tell you one of the ways that I've always really looked for ways things are relevant is I could look at like what books are hot right now. Right? If I want to write or if I want to just my own personal growth, if I'm wanting personal growth on making bread, I go look for books. I'm looking at cookbooks. I'm looking at videos, right? Those kinds of things. So what are they searching for? What books are they using? Right? Go to Amazon, go to the New York Times bestselling list. What are the top books in that niche? What are the topics there? Because that tells you what people purchase. Do you see how that works? We have to get relevant. We have to be interesting. We have to present it in an interesting way, but it also has to be relevant of what they want to hear. All right. And then the last thing on this, the third thing that it just goes back to it, like with my boys, like I couldn't be confused. We have to be clear in what we're presenting because if we don't, like if we don't have messaging or every day it changes, we're changing our niche every other month, what happens? Mixed signals. Or one day we're talking, this week our theme is bread, and next week our theme is cleaning the kitchen, and next week our theme is this. And what happens is mixed signals. Like we have to have messaging that is consistent and brings a point. This brings across our point over and over and over again. I wish I could remember. I think it was a HubSpot article, but I'm not sure that a friend of mine shared with me about a year ago. And this article talked about how on social media, like, let me spit this out. Years back when I was in Mary Kay, they always said, oh, it takes 7 to 15 touch points for people to buy. Okay. On social media, you want to know what the research showed? And it was about a year ago that I heard this, year and a half, maybe 66 touch points. And if they only see your post once or twice a week, or worse, you only post once or twice a week and they only see maybe once a month what you post. Ooh, right? That's a long time of touching points, right? So we have to make sure that we are consistent. We have to make sure our language, our message is clear so that we're not sending these mixed signals, because when it's mixed, they are scrolling on, or worse, they don't even think of you when they have the problem. And then this is you. Let me tell you how you know. If people go, what do you do again? What was your niche again? Something's off. If they're doing that, then they don't remember enough because it either your language has been off, it hasn't been clear, or it's not relevant to them, right? There's a problem with the messaging is basically what that all boils down to. But I mean, it could be too that they're just not your person, which is fine. But if it is your ideal person and they don't know, you got a big, big problem, right? And this happens a lot, especially if, let's say, I have 6-figure coaches that come to me and they have gotten a lot of their clients all through referrals, right? And so they haven't developed a lot of times that marketing side for them, where that their content is doing some of the heavy lifting between the referrals that come in. Maybe they've tried, but it's been sporadic. It's been unsure of what to say, unsure what story to tell. Do I even tell a story? I don't know how to tell a story. What language do I use? Maybe they've switched the niche a little bit, like this person they helped with this and that person they helped with that. And so it's kind of been all over, right? Bring it back in. The messaging has to be the clarity, the relevance, the language, all there. And when you do that and you deliver it with some amazing, compelling content, stories and reels and just things that engage, friend, that's when your content does the heavy lifting for you. So today, that's what we're talking about. Getting relevant, getting on topic, getting interesting, so people want to consume all your stuff. Okay, so my friends, that's what I have for you today. Go be more interesting. Go be relevant. Go be someone they can't help but seek out and find. All right, my friends, till next time. Hey, my friends. Thanks for tuning in to the Market Like a Coach podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable and inspiring. Remember, it's all about refining your message and elevating your content game so that you can thrive as a coach. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow coaches. For more tips and strategies and resources, visit me at angelanaumann.com.